Hello and welcome. My name is Andy Crook, and I'm your host for this training topic all about seasonal marketing. My mission is to help garage owners become more successful in business. And how I do that is most weeks I try to go live on one of the 5 pillars business as I see it. And this week, the training topic is all about seasonal marketing or creating predictable workflows. Batteries hate frost. Aircon hates heat. Wipers hate storms. MOT demand follows number plates and reminders. None of this is predictable, and seasonal marketing can turn predictable patterns into predictable workflows. So let me tell you about Martin. He owns a small independent garage, and throughout the year, demand for his service fluctuates. He discounts in January because it's dead, panics in July because it's even quieter, and is overrun with MOTs in September and spends the whole of autumn catching up on COVID MOT exemptions. But that's the motor trade, and there's nothing you can do about it, according to Martin. But what if there was a way to do something about it? And it's called marketing. Not running a few ads when you notice it's gone quiet, but a considered campaign to attract the right type of customers at just the right time. But Martin hasn't got time for marketing. The recent rain has created a sudden surge in suspension work. However, if he had examined his last 12 months' work and looked for patterns and aligned them with the weather, school terms, registration and MOT waves, or using freely available data, because it is possible to do this with other people's information too, he could predict potential problems, quiet and busy periods, and be more proactive. Seasonal marketing can smooth the peaks and the troughs that too many of us accept as part of the motor trade. So seasonal marketing has 3 main benefits. The first one is more consistent workflow. The second, more consistent marketing presence. And the third, you predict your customers' problems, offer a just-in-time solution. To execute this successfully, you need a plan. You need to create and deliver your marketing just the right time to the right people with just the right message. And how do you do that? That's what this training topic's all about. It's all about seasonal marketing, which is really understanding your customers' needs, then positioning your garage as a solution to those needs right at the time which they need. Most garages are reactive in their marketing. It's time to get proactive. How we do that is we plan, create, and deliver our marketing. Let's start with the plan. And how are we going to do it? Well, a simple way to do it, and it's simple to explain, but it's possibly not as easy to do. And there are various ways in which you can go about this. But what you need to do is you need to look at all of last year's jobs, or certainly a significant period. And 12 months is a good way of looking at it. So if you were able to export last year's jobs into some sort of spreadsheet and then organize the data and cluster the jobs by type. So you might have all the MOT invoices, all the aircon servicing and regas invoices, all the tire work, suspension work, wiper blades, lamps and headlight alignments. You get the idea. You break down the jobs, or cluster them by job type once you've done them. And there's nothing wrong with using AI to help you do that, because that'll help you cluster the jobs together. And then what you're going to do is once you've got the jobs clustered, is you're going to look for patterns. And you're going to look for patterns by date. So you can look by season, quarterly, or by month. And then you could also look for patterns by job type. So are there certain types of work happens at a certain time? Are there certain customers that do certain types of work at certain times? You can also look at them by turnover. Which jobs bring in the most turnover? Which jobs bring in most profit? And then you can also look at it by capacity. There's a lot to look for in that. You've taken existing data that you already have, hopefully in your business, and you're able to identify the job type. And then you're starting to look for patterns. And to begin with, it's a good idea to look at it by sort of when these patterns occur. When does certain type of work more frequently happen? And you'll see why that's a good idea in a second. And then you can further break them down from there by maybe customers, or by turnover and profit, or by your ability to do that work, how much spare capacity you have. So when you look at this data, you'll be able to build your seasonal marketing plan, or if you're going to take this an extra step further, your monthly marketing plan. Now, I suggest you do seasonal marketing first and then monthly after that, once you start to build up some skills and some data and get some feedback on how this is working for you. But basically, from the data, you now have, certain things. You know when you have capacity to do more, you can align those periods with the work that is typical of that season. So, for example, you may have more capacity to do more aircon work, but you don't really get much call for it in the winter. But you have capacity to do it in the spring and less capacity to do it in the summer. So now you might want to think about advertising for aircon work in the spring. So in periods when you're constrained, and constrained is just a posh word for you haven't got any room for more, align those periods with doing better, prioritizing your best customers and your most profitable jobs. So you can dig back into the data and look for your A and your B type customers and your most profitable jobs. When do they come around? And then you can start to marry that up with when you are your busiest. For example, you might notice that you sell more wiper blades in February than any other month, more batteries in January, and more bulbs in November. April is when you see the first aircon diagnostic job. January and July are your quietest months. August and September are your busiest months. Now, that's just typical data that I've been able to look at for my business. Now, we don't do masses of wiper blades, but we do notice we sell more of them in February, which is just a quirk of my business. You're looking for similar patterns in your data. If you haven't got this data to rely on, you can have a look online and look to see where you can get this data elsewhere. And what you're looking for is you're trying to align the busiest and quietest periods with what work gets done in those times. Typically, you can have a good guess if you haven't got any data. And then what you're going to do is you've got your plan, you're going to create. And you're going to use the data to create your seasonal marketing plan. And you're going to break it down by winter, spring, summer, and autumn. And the typical months for winter are November to February. Spring, you're going to say, is March to May. Summer is June to August. Autumn, September to October. And then ahead of time, you're going to create marketing materials for each season. And you're going to focus on the problem, and then you're going to provide your customers with the solution. If you think about the monthly marketing plan, this just takes this idea one step further and focuses on the problems your customers might have in that specific month. But the concept's the same. So some examples. And once again, AI is your friend here. You can just ask any AI to provide with examples. So here's something that I got AI to come up with for this training topic. So first frost. Yeah. So when the first frost happens, you have your free antifreeze check. So aircon assurance as a type. See and stop safety check. Half-term health check. No shocks this Halloween for suspension. Love your car this Valentine's Day. Pollen and pollution plan. Dark nights, check your lights. So you get the idea, and you just ask AI to help with a list of helplines. And you can use any of those to give AI sort of a guide to what you're sort of looking at. Now, they might seem really cheesy, and that's kind of the idea. You want them to stand out. And what you need to do is you need to build a landing page for each season and use all the call to actions in your social media to drive traffic to the page. And on the page, you must also have a section where they can book the seasonal service that you're offering. And then you need to know who you are going to target and when. So this is key, because if you are busy, you're going to target different customers to periods when you know generally you're going to be quieter. Come to that in a second. So that's the create part. Now, it doesn't have to be incredibly flashy. So if, for example, you're offering winter health checks, you're going to have a landing page where you outline what you do at a winter health check and what you check and why it's necessary. And then you have some form of them getting in touch with you to book it. Ideally, it's a click and book service. Doesn't have to be. It can be call us to book a free winter check or whatever it is you're doing. So then you've got to deliver on that particular marketing campaign, whatever it is you're going to do, whichever one of the seasons. And if you like, the delivery section is where the rubber meets the road. And you only have, I would argue, you only have 4 ways to reach your potential customers. You have what I call hot or warm outreach, which is reaching out to your existing customers and contacts, people who have already used your services, who know, like, and trust you. Or contacts such as friends or people you already have some form of connection with. You might work with them or whatever it is. And that's warm and hot outreach. The next one is you have cold outreach. And this is connecting or contacting strangers one-on-one through methods like cold calls or cold emails to generate interest in your service or products. Not such a good idea for this type of campaign, I'd argue. Then you have your free content. Creating and distributing valuable content such as blog posts, videos, or podcasts to attract your ideal audience, position yourself as an expert. That's your social media and your blog page. Paid ads. Running paid advertising campaigns on platforms like social media or Google to reach a broad audience very, very quickly. So what we need to do is look at how we can use seasonal marketing most effectively using warm outreach, free content, and paid ads. Cold outreach can be used, but I'm not a huge fan of it, especially for seasonal marketing. So let's start with the hot and warm outreach. And for me, this is the best option and the one I would recommend to start filling the gaps in your diary with. Because what you're going to do is you're going to identify your best types of customers, what I call my A and my B type customers. And we're going to send them an email, a postcard, or a text message of your timely offer, because it reminds them of your existence and shows that you value their customer, especially if you send exclusive offers only to these customers. When you're at your busiest, prioritize these customers and let them know you're busy, but that you reserve them a slot, that they're getting preferential treatment. And during the quietest periods, you can afford to use free checks for these customers, as the return on investment can't just be measured as financial, but it's about building those stronger relationships, creating more trust. So these are the customers that you want to replicate through referrals. They might not need your services right now, but they may know someone just like them who does need your services. Remember, birds of a feather flock together. So why not make whatever the offer is that you offer them, the special offer, transferable, and ask them to pass it on to someone else who needs it? It's a great idea, and it will certainly get more bookings in the diary. The next one is your free content, your social media, and your blog posts. So seasonal marketing can provide you with an endless number of potential blog post ideas. And this is the foundation stone of your free content. Blogs or news pages are one of the ways you can keep your website fresh. New quality content is great for search engine optimization, sometimes called SEO, helping your website rank above your competitors. If you have a keyword-rich blog about the seasonal problems your potential customers are about to encounter, then the chances are it will rank above your competitors' generic sites. You should add a Google business post while you're at it and link back to the blog or landing page. Do the same with your social media posts, host videos of the common jobs, and don't forget to have clear calls to action that link back to that landing or blog page. Your free content should be designed to position you as the local expert. Don't include any special offers or free stuff here. Keep that for your best customers. Finally, paid ads. If you are still experiencing fallow periods after conducting seasonal monthly warm outreach campaigns, then paid ads are an option. I always urge caution. Discover what works best using your free content first. Because all paid advertising works. It will put your ad in front of people. It's whether or not it be effective, which is a different question. Sometimes you can get great returns from paid ads, but it depends on so many variables that it is unlikely that you will hit on a winning formula immediately. But seasonal marketing can provide opportunities to uncover less expensive keywords or long-tail keywords that the competition might not be exploiting. The result is it costs less to attract a customer who is looking for the service that you are promoting. Always ensure your cost to win a customer is less than the lifetime value of that customer. Even better, make sure your cost to win a customer is less than the profit on their very first transaction. So having a seasonal marketing plan helps create predictable workflow from predictable problems, because we know batteries fail in the first frost of the season. Aircon demand soars in summer. MOTs multiply in March and September. It's busy in October and November, but quiet in January and July. But your customers don't know any of this. They only know when their car is due MOT or service, or when they have planned a road trip. A timely reminder of your expertise will keep you in the forefront of their mind. If you somehow manage to predict a non-start this winter, a lamp failure this autumn, or a hot and bothered traffic jam this summer, you'll have added proof to your expertise, or they might even suspect you've nobbled their car. Customers are weird like that. If you're already fully booked and turning work away, then you can still use seasonal marketing. Prioritizing your best customers is good for business. Letting them know you have prioritized them is good business. Do that before your busy periods. Before the quieter spells, send out vouchers. Do free health checks. Offer to do periodical servicing at preferential rates. Seasonal marketing using data to predict potential problems, position your business as the solution, makes the motor trade more predictable. I've spoken to loads of garage owners like Martin who doesn't do marketing, or garages that are too busy and don't need to market themselves. They fill their diaries on a first-come, first-served basis and then complain about their customers. They suffer the peaks and troughs of seasonal demand and panic during the lead periods. If you are overbooked, then you may need to increase your prices. But meanwhile, seasonal marketing can help you prioritize your best customers, provide predictable, profitable productivity, and position your garage as the local experts. But you need to plan, create, and deliver on that seasonal marketing campaign. Most garages won't. Martin certainly hasn't. But if you should, you must. And what's stopping you is probably starting. See you next time.